Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to jump right into the first chapter of a book that has seriously changed the game for so many people, Atomic Habits by James Clear. We're going to explore this really simple but honestly revolutionary idea, how the smallest, tiniest changes can lead to absolutely remarkable results.
You know, the subtitle on the cover says it all. Tiny changes, remarkable results. And look, this isn't just some catchy marketing phrase. It's the absolute core of how real, lasting change actually happens. It's all about finding the surprising power hidden in those small, consistent things you do every day.
I mean, have you ever felt like this? I think we've all been there, right? You decide you're going to make a change, you're all motivated, you put in the work, and then nothing. The results just don't show up. It's so frustrating, and it's probably the #1 reason most of us just give up and go back to our old ways.
We've all had this exact thought. You commit to a new workout routine. You go 3, 4, maybe even 5 days straight. You're sore, you're exhausted, you feel like you've really put the work in, but then you look in the mirror and you look exactly the same. It makes you feel like, what's even the point?
Or how about this one? You do the right thing. You skip the pizza, you have a salad for lunch, you feel pretty good about yourself. But the next morning, you hop on the scale and the number hasn't budged, not even a little bit. And it's so easy to just throw your hands up and say, forget it. That lack of immediate feedback, that's the silent killer of our best intentions. And look, this isn't just about the gym or what you eat. It applies to literally everything. You spend an hour practicing Spanish on an app, but you still can't actually hold a conversation. We make these small, positive efforts, but because the payoff isn't immediate, we just slide right back into our old habits.
So how do we break out of this frustrating cycle? Well, this is where James Clear introduces this simple but honestly profoundly powerful idea he calls the 1% solution. The whole concept is just aiming to get 1% better every single day. That's it.
Okay, and this slide, wow. This is where you really see the power of compounding in action. That tiny, almost invisible improvement of just 1% a day, it doesn't just add up, it multiplies. Over the course of a year, that tiny daily effort makes you nearly 38 times better than you were when you started. That is the magic of small, consistent gains.
But, and this is so important, it works both ways. This is the flip side, the kind of scary side of that same coin. If you get just 1% worse each day, maybe you make one tiny bad choice, or you let one little excuse slide. You don't just stay the same. You basically decline to almost zero. The impact of your habits, for better or for worse, gets multiplied over time. Clear has this fantastic analogy in the book that really makes this click. Imagine you're on a plane flying from LA to New York City. If the pilot adjusts the heading by just 3.5 degrees south, a tiny change you wouldn't even feel on the plane, you don't end up in New York. You land in Washington, D.C. Your daily habits are that tiny shift. They are literally determining your destination in life.
So to really get why he named the book what he did, let's just quickly break down the word atomic itself. The first meaning, as you can see here, is about something being extremely small, a fundamental building block. Think of it like a single tiny choice.
And then, of course, you've got habit, a routine, something you do regularly, often without even thinking about it. Now this is where it gets really cool, when you put these two words together.
See, when you combine them, an atomic habit isn't just any small habit. It's a fundamental piece of a much larger system. Just like atoms are the building blocks of molecules, these tiny habits are the building blocks of an entirely new life. They are both incredibly small and unbelievably powerful at the same time.
Okay, so this is probably what you're thinking right now, right? If this 1% rule is so amazing, why does it feel like nothing is happening at the start? Why do we still feel totally stuck in those first few days or weeks? Well, the book has a brilliant explanation for this. It's called the plateau of latent potential. Clear calls this the valley of disappointment. It's that frustrating gap between the progress we think we should be making and what's actually happening. This is where almost everyone quits, but it's also where all the real work is happening, just under the surface, where you can't see it yet. And the analogy he uses for this is just perfect. Imagine an ice cube in a room that's 25 degrees. You slowly start to raise the temperature, 26, 27, 29, 31 degrees. But the ice cube is still an ice cube. It looks like absolutely nothing is happening. But then you hit that one critical threshold, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and suddenly you have a breakthrough. It starts to melt. All that work wasn't wasted. It was just storing up potential. Your habits work the exact same way.
I love how this slide visualizes the whole thing. Think about it. We totally underestimate how deep the roots of our bad habits are. They're like these huge, powerful oak trees. Tearing them out takes real, sustained effort. On the flip side, building a good habit is more like trying to grow a delicate flower. It needs patience, it needs daily care and cultivation before it can get strong. All right, so if we know we need to be patient, how do we actually set ourselves up for success? Well, this leads to maybe the biggest mindset shift in the whole book. You need to forget about goals and focus on your systems instead.
So what's the difference? A goal is the result you want. I want to write a book or I want to win the championship. A system is the process that leads to that result, like I write one page every morning or I practice for an hour every day. And here's the kicker. Winners and losers often have the exact same goals. Every single team in the league wants to win the championship. The goal isn't what separates them. It's their system of daily practice and improvement that makes all the difference.
Let's bring this down to earth with some examples you can actually use. Let's say your goal is to run a marathon. That's awesome, but it's way off in the future. Your system is just putting on your running shoes and getting out the door every morning, even if it's only for 5 minutes. The goal is to clean out that disaster of a garage. Your system is spending 5 minutes every single day tidying up just one little corner. The system is what you can actually control right now, today, and that's what makes success almost inevitable.
And this all builds to my favorite quote from the entire book, and it really just sums everything up perfectly. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your goals can give you a direction, for sure, but it's the quality of your daily routines, your system, that actually determines whether you'll get there. Your system is your baseline.
All right, so let's do a super quick recap of the big ideas from Chapter 1. First, remember that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Second, getting just 1% better every day adds up to massive results in the long run. Third, you have to be patient because the biggest breakthroughs are always delayed. And finally, the most practical thing you can do right now is to stop obsessing over your goals and focus on improving your systems. And that brings us to the end. So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. Forget about some huge life makeover. What is one tiny 1% improvement that you can make today that, if you just repeated it, would put you on a completely different and better path 1 year from now? That right there is the power of atomic habits.